going, my fellow Homo sapiens? It's your boy, the legendary Hadou, and I'm coming at you with My Hero Academia anime review. We have superheroes and supervillains. This and more coming at you next. So, My Hero Academia was directed by Kanji Nakasaki. It was licensed in North America by Funimation, and Season 1 has 13 episodes. A summary of the anime goes a little something like this.
In a world where 80% of humanity is born with a quirk, a newly discovered superpower, abilities ranging from manifesting fire and ice to shape-shifting, giving humanity some incredible abilities. However, the other 20% of humanity is powerless because they was born without a quirk. We meet Izuku Midoriya, a quirkless child who has some big dreams of being a superhero. Izuku Midoriya has always had big dreams, but was faced with an unfair fate of having no quirk. Most of his childhood, he took notes on all superheroes and their abilities. One day, he would meet his favorite and #1 superhero of the world, All Might, who had a very special quirk that he could pass down to a successor. Where fate has looked down on Izuku Midoriya all his life, it seems like things were getting ready to change. It seems that fate is starting to shine in his corner as All Might chooses him to be his successor. Izuku will train for many weeks to prepare his body for all this new power and to enroll into UA High, a school for the gifted, only the best of the best students with abilities. Izuku will meet other talent classmates and learn about a new threat, the League of Villains. He will learn the true meaning of being a real hero.
So what I want to do here is focus on a few characters, not all the characters, but a few characters that stood out to me. And the first character I want to focus on is Izuku Midoriya. His superhero name is Deku. Now we're probably going to refer to him as Deku for the rest of the review. I just kind of like that name a little bit better. So what do I think about this guy? I think that he's a great character. I think he's very interesting and very cool. I really like how he came in not having a quirk and his overall progression throughout the series. Now, I also will say that I feel like he works very, very well with others and he makes very, very good friends. So that's one thing I really like about him. But not just that, he looks very plain and very weak. So a lot of the villains kind of look down on him. Not just that, a lot of kind of other people look down on him. So I really do like him because he looks weak, but he's extremely powerful. However, I will say that I feel like Deku at times feels very underwhelming, especially when it comes into like some very big climaxes where you think he's going to jump in and do something really, really big, and it doesn't really happen. For example, it's one point where he jumps in to save All Might. He get ready to go for a really, really big punch. You think he's just going to wipe his opponents out of the screen, just obliterate them. However, something happens and he doesn't end up getting that punch. Yes, he ends up saving a life, but he was hoping for something really, really big. But overall, I feel like Deku is a great character and he's very, very interesting. Now, the next character I want to focus on is Katsuki. I really love this character. Now, he comes off kind of like the rival for Deku. Now, what I really like about this character is that he's very powerful. He's like a firecracker. He has a very, very quick temper. I mean, he will get mad at the smallest things. But what I really like about this character is that he, to me personally, comes off as a villain. He is so into himself. He believes that he is so powerful, he is so godlike, he believes he is so great, so when he is defeated by someone or he sees someone else that's better than him, he loses his shit. And that's one thing I really like about this character. Not just that, when he loses a match against Deku, when they had the thing at school where one half had to be villains, one half had to be heroes, and he lost against Deku, he was just so angry, he was so mad, he was just yelling and he was screaming and he was just like lost. And at that moment, I really thought that he was going to go evil and just kill people. And that's one thing I like about him, because he's just, you don't feel safe around this guy. And I think that he will make a great rival for Deku, but he's a really, really cool guy. But I really like the part in the series where he asks himself, is him and Deku truly fought? Would Deku kill him? And I love that because it seems like he's coming to the realization that Deku might just be more powerful than him. But that's one thing I really do like about that character. The next character I want to focus on is Tanya. This character here, I feel like is really funny. Now, I will say this much. I don't care about his quirk. I think his quirk is garbage. So, I guess he can run really fast. He summons jets out of his calf muscles and allow him to sprint really fast. To me personally, when you see all the other super abilities and other superheroes, that power does seem very underwhelming. However, what makes this character is his personality. He comes off as a leader. Matter of fact, he is a leader, but he comes off as like a class rep. He takes everything serious and he tries very hard, and because of that, it's very funny. He reminds me of Sosuke Sagara from Full Metal Panic, because he takes everything serious and it's just hilarious in some of the things he does. But when it really does count, he is a leader and he rises up to the challenge. And the final character I want to give the spotlight to is Shoutout. We really don't get a lot of screen time of this character, but I think that he is really awesome. He looks mysterious. His superpower, his quirk is controlling half hot, half cold. He looks really badass and he's very powerful. But not just that, he got into UA Academy by a recommend. So that tells you something. He is really special. So I kind of like these silent characters, but mysterious characters, you know, silent and mysterious. I really like those type of characters. We get to see him towards the end really kind of go after some of the other villains in the series, and he's really badass. He's really cool, and I got to say that out of all the characters so far, I think he is the most badass student. Now, let's talk about my feelings about the series, the animation, and everything above that. So, one thing I gotta say about My Hero Academia was the first 2 episodes was incredible. I'm not gonna lie. The first 2 episodes, I had tears in my eyes, and I'm going to be honest, I am shocked because a lot of anime just can't do that. I knew nothing about these characters. I was just learning about this, but seeing Deku as a child, seeing him want to be a superhero, trying so hard, going to the doctor and been told, no, you will not develop a quirk, you don't have what it takes, and seeing his mom, him smiling, looking at his favorite hero on the internet, and you see All Might saving all the people. You know he wants to become a superhero so he can save people, and he asks his mom, do you think I can become a superhero? And his mom tells him no. And at that moment, there's just so much tears happen, everyone's crying, and I just felt it in my heart. One thing I gotta say is I gotta give it to the director, I gotta give it to the animators, because wow, I have never been part of an anime, never watched an anime. In the first 2 episodes, I had tears in my eyes, and I'm not a compassionate man. I'm not sensitive at all. But those 2 episodes was like wow. I mean, my eyes were watering. I was trying to suck those tears back up, and I was just stunned. That was just incredible because it played with my emotions in those first 2 episodes, and it just kept me going throughout the series. It just kept me hooked to the series. Now, one thing I will say is I like how we go into UA High, and we get to see all the other students. That, to me personally, gives me that kind of like that Naruto feel, where you have not just the main protagonist, but you have all these other characters in the series that has cool abilities and some that has crappy abilities. So one thing I will say is that they use this term, all men are not born equal. I kind of like that because it's kind of true when it comes down to this anime. You have some people that has extremely impressive powers, from controlling fire and ice to some that has sticky balls that can throw and stick on things. That's it. They just stick on stuff. So you have people that can pull metal rods and create materials out of their skin, from people that can just run fast. So that kind of gives you an example that everyone is not equal in this type of series. Another thing I will say I like about this series is the teachers. Once again, I'm going to compare and contrast with Naruto, because you have these teachers that are pro heroes, that are very powerful, and you have the students that, even though they have some cool abilities, they're nowhere near as powerful as the teachers. The teachers are very badass, they're very strong, and you can see the power level. You can see the difference between the quirks from pro heroes, from the students. So that's one thing I really say they did very well with this series. And now let's kind of focus on some of the villains. So yes, you have some villains sprinkled around the series. You have basically what I like to call just trash mob villains. But once we get to the League of Villains, you really start to see a different tone in the series, and that's something I gotta say I really like. Yes, there was a lot of trash mobs in the League of Villains, but once you see some of the bigger villains in the League of Villains, they feel hardcore. It seems very scary and they seem pretty badass. And finally, what I want to look at is the climax of My Hero Academia Season 1. One thing I will say in this series, they have some incredible fight scenes, some really cool things, but one thing I will definitely talk about is the climax of this series. The last few episodes, oh my goodness, the climax was incredible. I was standing up, I was walking around, I was like, wow, I was breathing hard. It was incredible. My Hero Academia, it came off to me as kind of like a lighthearted show. It didn't seem really dark. It didn't seem that mature. But once you get to the last few episodes, you see the teacher get beat down, pummeled down into the ground. You see his bones get broken. You see the blood gushing from his head. It was incredible. It really took a series that was already good and made it great because it felt so mature and dark. It gave that element that, hey, yes, there's a lot of colors in this series, but things can get dark and people will die. And that's one thing I really liked about this, because it really took the League of Villains at first that you see the trash mob is like, they're just bad guys, to wow, the League of Villains is definitely a threat. So overall, I felt like this series was incredible. I came in with very low expectations, and those very low expectations were blown out the water. The series was awesome. It had great character development. It had cool characters. It has very powerful villains, and it has a very dark tone to it. That's what I really love about this series. I felt like they told a great story, and it was just awesome overall. But that's all I have for today. Let me know what you thought about this series. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comment box below. But that's all I have. Please rate, subscribe, comment, and share. It really helps the channel. Thanks for watching. Matane.